Hey guys, Nabil here. So I finally found the time and was able to sit through and finish the Tekken 8 story mode. Now a little bit about myself and Tekken. I've been a fan of the franchise since the very first Tekken game. I remember playing it on the first PlayStation and it was a lot of fun. Then it got really hooked with when the sequel came out. Tekken 2 was my favorite 3D fighting game of all time. I played Tekken 3, 4, etc. And one of the things I always loved was the story. I was a fan of the story. Some reason, it seems to be I'm a fan of family members throwing each other from cliffs, hoping for them to die only to come back later. Now, this is not the first time that Tekken is doing a story mode. Tekken 6 had a story mode which was pretty boring and honestly terrible, and its mistakes actually bring down the greatness about the Tekken 8 and 7 stories, and I'll talk about that later. Then we had Tekken 7, which had a more cinematic story mode, although told from the perspective of a monotone and boring journalist. And we had some images and still images with voiceover, and we had some really great scenes, and like Heihachi beating the crap out of people to reclaim his own Zaibatsu, or his own company, and of course the last battle between Kazuya and Heihachi, where Heihachi ends up dying. Now Tekken 8 is here, and they actually went with a different approach when it comes to story. For 90% of the time, the story mode is actually cinematics, and you play through different characters as the story progresses, and we have few instances where you actually play kind of like a Tekken Force adventure, if you will, a few missions you do like that, which I think it was a great change of pace. Now let's talk a little bit about the presentation before talking about the story. Tekken 8 story mode looks fantastic. Namco killed it, and everything is over the top. Now, the first time I saw Heihachi destroying his minions in the Tekken 7, I thought, wow, they're going a little bit Dragon Ball Z kind of thing. Well, they took that to another level, and you see that just from the first chapter when Kazuya is fighting Jin and just things are flying around. Jin is on a motorcycle, like on the side of a skyscraper, jumping, explosions, a lot of action, and I think it really looks great and amazing. It really shows you how amazing the action in the game is. As the story progresses, we learn about why Kazuya is destroying the world and why Jin is trying to stop him. See, Jin did a terrible mistake in Tekken 6, which I think was terrible writing when he decided to just start waging wars, killing random people, hoping for Azazel to wake up so he can put him to sleep again, which was a bit of a what are you talking about scenario. But they're trying to fix that, and Jin is now not a villain anymore, but an actual hero who is trying to atone for his terrible sins. And as the story progresses, we see some of the characters and their roles. And for the majority of the characters we've seen, I think the story, their stories and how they were portrayed was actually done justice. And I was really happy about that. We even had some people sacrificing themselves, couple characters dying, which was not expected, but it was really cool. And then, obviously, as it is with every major, storytelling, even in movies, you have some characters that are considered side characters that are just not well treated. And two characters that come to mind, and I know everybody's gonna agree with me here, is Martial Law and Paul Phoenix. Their story has been always just them trying to be rich and then just messing it up, and that continues. It's a little bit boring. As a martial law main, I played Law since the first Tekken. It kind of hurts me a little bit. I gotta come clean here. It really does hurt to see him just reduced to comedy relief, and again, same thing here, which I'm not happy about it. Okay, now. We'll talk about some specifics here. Obviously, this is, talking about some spoilers here. But it was really cool to see the reason why Kazuya is, hosting the tournament. And it was amazing to play the story mode and play the tournament in a canonical way. I think it was amazing. You get to choose which character you want to play. And I think that was fantastic. It was so much fun. I felt the hype of the tournament, of the King of Iron Fist tournament, as these characters clash with each other, and I had to choose whether I want character A or character B, and each one of them had an amazing introduction, before playing and fighting each other. I think that was fantastic. Now, as I said, there's some issues with the story. Now, everything was great. Then, things that bothered me a little bit was the introduction of Reina. Now, Reina is fantastic. I think she's really good. Great characteristic, great, personality, how she fights and all that, and her look and how she acts. But then somehow, like she comes in as this, girl pretending to be just, a good old, girl who goes to the same school as Jin, and then she just, Lars tells her to come along with them. They just barely know her, and they just took her in and basically gave her all the information she needed, which was kind of weak plot hole thing, but it was fine. Then my biggest problem with the story is when they tried to have these two factions of characters fighting each other. It's kind of like Avengers Endgame, or Avengers or Captain America Civil War, the good guys fighting other good guys, running towards each other, who's gonna make it, who's not. I think that was a little bit unnecessary, especially that you had some characters who I was mind boggled. Why are they fighting for Kazuya? Why is Law with Kazuya? Everybody knows Kazuya is, an SOB who's trying to destroy the world. He's evil now. He's a devil. He literally turns into a devil and flies around and destroys cities. Why is, Azucena? Why is she fighting alongside Kazuya? Made no sense to me. Why is martial law with Kazuya? Just because Paul didn't share his money? Again, all this money thing. And then you have another plot hole. Well, Steve Fox is Nina's son. They were fighting in opposite ways, right? But there was no interactions between them. I think that was, a missed opportunity, right? So this whole scene, which also gave us the ability to play in this kind of like a Tekken force, where you go and start fighting, kind of like an old 3D beat 'em up, which was cool. But the story surrounding that whole, scene was really unnecessary. So that was my biggest problem with the story, really. And then, of course, you had the last part of the game, which was the massive fight between Kazuya and Jin. I think it was done great. There were some issues. It dragged too long. So many transformations. We had Devil Jin, Real Devil Jin, True Devil Jin. You have Angel Jin. It's just way too much. Maybe Angel Jin was a bit unnecessary, but it was fine. I enjoyed it for what it is. It dragged on a little bit. And then I was happy that, this seems to be the conclusion, right, of the Devil Gene thing, right? So they annihilated the Devil Gene on both sides, and, they fought as man-to-man at the end, and I think it was fantastic the way, like that asteroid fall down. It was, first of all, the rock went into space, they fought in space, then it came back to, on top of a volcano. I was like, what is happening right now? This is way too much, but it was still fun. It was really, really fun. And the story ends with, I was expecting that Kazuya will die, but he didn't. And someone is coming to reclaim his body or himself, because I don't think he's dead. He basically, Jin, kind of like forgave him, kind of, because of June, is she alive? Is she not alive? Well, the story, the character stories will say that she's alive, but they never made it clear in the story mode itself, in the cinematic story mode. And then we have Jin, who's now like a good guy and just hanging out with Xiao Yu, all great. And then at the end, the surprise, Reina has the Devil Gene, so we're not done with the damn gene again. So Tekken 9 is going to be all about Reina having Devil Gene. But all in all, I think it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was amazing. I loved the direction. I loved the most of the story elements, except the ones I talked about. And I think it really is great to see Namco, taking a page from NetherRealm Studios' way of telling stories in fighting games. I wish every fighting game company does that. Now, Street Fighter or Capcom did the World Tour with Street Fighter 6, which was fun, but actually the replayability value for it is non-existent. I finished it. I'm not going to go ahead and keep running around, but I would definitely go and play some specific scenes from this amazing story mode from the Tekken 8. Namco Bandai killed it, and I am really happy, again, with the end result. I'm really hoping that we're going to get some story DLCs and more chapters, maybe. I mean, NetherRealm Studios did it for Mortal Kombat 11. I really want to see it here. But all in all, again, a great experience, a lot of fun, enjoyed it a lot. I'm still, playing the game. I'm not in a position yet to do a proper review for the whole game because, well, there's just too much stuff on the game. I just don't have time to finish it on time, but I'll promise you I will do it. So what did you guys think about the Tekken story mode? Well, Did you enjoy it? What did you think? What are the problems that you saw with the presentation or the story itself? Let me know in the comment section. Are you a big fan of Tekken? Do you want me to cover the game more? Let me know again that also in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.